If you've been there, then you already know. Channel it live. Now the real talks flow. Devil's advocate. Hear the other side. Voices unheard, I won't let them hide. Brotherhood strong, yeah, we speak our truth. Real talk, only no filter, no proof. Average man with a weight on his chest. Say what we feel, put it all to the test. Work, pressure, silence we hold. Stories get buried, never get told. Talking it out, yeah, we open the door. Men go through things they can't ignore. Not just pain we feel, we rise. Sharpen the mind, cut through the lies. Devil's advocate. Yeah, the other side. Sisters and brothers all unified. Different views, but we keep it real. Say what we think, say what we feel. Yeah, the other side. Sisters and brothers all unified. Different views, but we keep it real. Say what we think, say what we feel. If you've been there, then you already know. Channel it live. Now the real talks flow.
What is up? What is up? Guys, music by Evil Eddie. Check him out. Check him out. I love it. An amazing artist. Okay, we have a I will believe a continuation, right? I did it on Saturday. But it's a continuation kind of a pretty racially charged stream. We will have a pretty racially charged stream. So hopefully you are you won't get too triggered. Okay, it'll be pretty racially charged. Right? If you watched Saturday's stream, you would get the kind of the idea for today. I wanted to continue it, right? I wanted to talk a little bit more about it. So yeah. So we'll be talking about that today. Yes. Again, what I did Saturday, I'm going to tell you that I personally believe that racism isn't the top 5 biggest problem right now, today, in modern day. Racism isn't even the top 5 biggest problem for the black community. It isn't even the top 5 biggest problem for any minority. Okay, racism isn't top 5 biggest problem for any minority. Now, even controversially, I don't even think it's top 10, right? I don't think racism is top 10 biggest problem for any minority, let alone black people. But we'll talk about that today. Hopefully, I kind of, prove my view Saturday, but there's some videos I wanted to talk about today, so it just add on to the stack onto the conversation. So let's get started. I have quite a few videos today, a long one after this one, so I don't know if I will get to my other ones, but we'll see. Because here's the thing where I don't usually. I mean, there was plenty of streams where plenty of videos I'm not distinctly talking about race, but I said this before. When you air your business online, you shouldn't cry about criticism. You shouldn't cry about critiques. You shouldn't cry about opinions. Now, I've said this: if I put myself online, I accept the trolls. I accept the haters, because if you see my my mobile live stream when I do like kind of debates or things right there, or like my mobile prompts, right? I get plenty of hate. I said this before. I had a TikTok channel taken down because of immense amount of hate. Because I did a video of saying that I personally believe that Asian people support Trump's mass deportation of illegal immigrants. Okay, I 100% support. And I believe many Asians support Donald Trump's mass deportations of illegal immigrants. And I got crazy amount of hate, right? I guess, from what side, saying that, they wish I was dead. A lot of wish I was dead. A lot saying that I will be next, but that's kind of a stupid question or stupid response. But a lot of hate. Okay. So I understand that you put yourself online, the trolls and haters will come at you, and I accept that. I'm fine with that. So this is something that, I get a lot of response, but why are you talking about, the black community? Well, don't share your shit online, right? Don't air your dirty laundry. That's the thing where it's the hypocrisy, okay? Let alone that, right? Just that is hypocritical. You air your dirty laundry online, and then you're angry that people have opinions on it. Kind of like counterintuitive, right? How about don't share your shit, and no one will say shit about it? But hey, I mean, like the people who are in disagreement with me, honestly, don't have much of an IQ, okay? Because if you share your shit online, people are going to have opinions on it. So, we'll talk about that. But yes, let's get to this first video. Like I said before, right? I believe one of the biggest, probably top 5, right? In the top 5 is criminality. As much as people hate on it, and again, when I say certain these problems, it's not like it's every single. I really want people to understand when I talk online, it's generalized. It's generalized, okay? Or it's like a certain pocket, but in my opinion, right? The criminal mindset, yes, it's not everyone, because I have plenty of amazing black friends who never even interact with police officers. But here's the thing: the bad apples always spoil the bunch. And in my also opinion is that the ones that, and I had this one of my viewers, right, Antics, said that one thing that the black community is suffering from is bad PR, right? Bad marketing. Okay. It's the criminality. It's like having the criminal mindset, lawlessness, violence, whatever. Violence, I won't put it aside. But a criminal mindset is part of the bad PR. And here's the thing, right? I don't disagree that the white man or whatever mainstream media may portray that. I agree, right? I've seen plenty of it. But here's the thing where it's also being continuously perpetuated by the black community, okay? Because this is a thing where even if, because I'm like, you gotta think, of course there's Asian people, right? Asian people that commit crimes. Of course. Asian people are not like more, or, just, they don't have, of course they have the propensity to commit crimes, and they do. But why don't you see enough of it? Or why don't you see a lot of it? Because there's not that many. It's frowned upon. It's not taught, or it's not pushed, or there's no role model for being a criminal. But sadly, in the black community, there's a role model. Thugs, street dudes, right? There's a role model, right? The bad boys is very prominent in the black community. So, that's the thing. So you got to think that one thing is that, yes, mass media is against you, right? But yet when you add to it, when you help them to fight against you, pretty much your own worst enemy.
Hayden Fontanet, Mr. Rojas, at the sentencing. Good morning. Are you Caden
Yes.
Fontanet? And this is 25 DCCR 1759. Mr. Fontanet was previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to the first-degree felony offense of aggravated robbery. It was an unagreed plea. I've received the pre-sentence report. Have you both had an opportunity to review that report?
We have, Your Honor. The state has, Judge.
Are there any additions or corrections to the report?
Not from the defense, not from the state, Judge.
And Mr. Coleman, you said you have a witness or some evidence.
Actually, Judge, Mr. Rojas has graciously stipulated to the admission of the surveillance video from the convenience store in question. So
Okay.
I need to call my custodian record. With the court's permission, first of all, I'm offering states one. No, Judge.
Make that states two, because this one was the plea admonishment
Okay.
documentation, please.
I'm offering states two. No objection.
States two is admitted.
Permission to publish, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I think that's all I wish to publish unless the court wants to see the entirety of the video.
But I think that's enough. Any other evidence or witnesses?
So Judge, just brief argument if I may.
Any other evidence or witnesses for Mr. Rojas?
No, Your Honor, just like,
Mr. Rojas, you may make argument first.
thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Judge. And obviously, after seeing that video, it makes what we're asking for harder to do. What we're here asking for this morning, Judge, is probation. Mr. Fontain's defense, he is a young offender. I know the court is tired of hearing the same story over and over, and young guys with guns in here. He's got a limited criminal history. I believe this is his first felony. He's never been on any kind of felony supervision or felony probation. Unfortunately, he's just fallen into the same situation that we see so many other youthful offenders fall into. He's got no direction in life. He's very little support at home.
Here's the thing where once you pass, I don't know, your teens, how stupid are you? Right? Once you pass your teens, we should have a concrete concept of right and wrong. When I mean, like, hell, I think even before that, but I'm being gracious. I knew what I'm doing is wrong. If I'm stealing, if I'm doing something terrible, I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong. So to say that, he's a kid, he's like, he's doing it. Man was armed robbery. Now I'm just listening. We're probably going deeper. Armed robbery. Carrying a gun, right? Pointing at people. It's not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing. Robbing people, let alone, this is not stealing, right? This is not like, oh, you see a piece of candy or you see a bag of chips or, little petty, stupid children shit, right? A toy, and then you take it. It's not that. It's you're pointing a weapon at someone and taking it from someone. Okay? You're not taking it from big corporation. You're robbing someone. It's like, it's hard for me to sometimes be, in my personal opinion, the good thing I'm not a judge, right? Is to be leaning on people who honestly fringe idiocy, right? Fringe stupidity. Because maybe I'm giving these people more credit than they deserve. I would think you're not this stupid. I don't care what age you are. I would hope that you're not this stupid. It's just ridiculous.
Sees no way out of the situation that he's in, so he goes and decides to rob a store and get some money. Did the wrong thing. And if his story in the PSI is to be believable for what I believe is the right reason, he's trying to help his mom out at home, he's trying to pay some bills, keep the lights on.
Why not get a job? Why not get seriously? I don't know. Work at Starbucks. I think they're paying pretty well. It's like no, you don't have to, right? You don't have to. Okay, be a criminal to pay some bills, because if you did, everyone would be a criminal. And again, not everyone is a CEO, so you're all like millions of average people would just be criminals because you got to be a criminal to pay some bills. You don't. And this is probably indicative, right? We'll see. I mean, I'm assuming, but probably a single mother household. The single mother, which is another problem in the Black community, shouldn't have had a child if she couldn't support her family. If she couldn't support her family, now she has a son fringing. I gotta help pay some bills. I gotta help pay some bills. That's why I gotta be a criminal. It's the cycle. It's no racism in it, right? I'm going to show you the things I'm talking about are bigger problems than racism, right? Much bigger problems in the Black community than racism. Oh, why is this Asian man talking about it? Because you know what? My FYP, I am prefacing my beliefs on my FYP. I don't see anyone talking about it, or I don't see many people talking about it. What I do see is constant talk about racism. That's what I do see. Constant talk about racism. Yet, I don't see the same people who constantly talk about racism talk about shit like this. Baby mama culture. Criminality. Right? The violence. Lack of picking good fathers. Lack of raising good sons. Creating the next generation of single mothers.
Certainly, there are better ways to go about doing that. And I hope that the time in jail has taught Mr. Fontenot that. We've got options here, Judge. We can send him to prison or we can put him on probation. Certainly, he's on the road if this conduct continues, he's on the road with prison. I don't know that the day is the best time to make that exit for him. He's got a long life to live. We can send him to prison. He can be there for a few years and come back out. I don't know that he's going to get the help that he really needs in prison. There are programs available on probation that if he's serious about turning his life around, like he says in the PSI, those programs can help him. And if he does take advantage of those, it in turn would make the community a little bit safer. Because there'd be one less guy running around with a gun when he does get out of prison, if that were the road that you chose to take. Plan on living at home with his mom. I think he has some younger siblings there. To his benefit.
Living with his mom, bunch of younger siblings. Useless ass mother. You can't even take care of your son. You can't even properly teach your son. You can't even properly find a man, right, to be the father of your son who would have taught this delinquent better. Yeah. Bigger problems. And I don't know. Maybe it's just me, right? Maybe you can't see it well, but like I don't know. Again, I'm reading into it. Maybe I'm reading into it like I was his demeanor, his how he is. It's just like not that serious. Maybe I'm just reading into it.
Before he was even arrested, he started a GED. I think on the night that this happened, he had just finished a GED class and made a dumb decision to go hang out with these guys that he should not have been hanging out with, and did this robbery.
And that's the thing. It's not like he's going to stop being friends with these other delinquents. He is going to continue the cycle.
Again, Judge, you've got two options. You can send him to prison or you can try to get him some help on probation. And hopefully he will take advantage of that. And certainly if he doesn't, we're going to know pretty quick. And you'll have another chance to send him to prison probably for a longer time.
All right, thank you. What is the status of the other two? Are there co-defendants? Have they been charged?
They have been charged, Judge, and I have both of their cases, Judge.
And they have not been sentenced yet or
No,
anything
Judge.
like that?
No,
Okay.
Judge.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Coleman.
Yeah, I'll be brief. Whether it's the Pine Club Apartments or Rogers Park or a Speedy Mart, you've seen this, and we've seen this in this community all too often. I'm preaching to the choir, Judge. Prayer vigils and advisory committees, all that stuff's fine, but you, Judge, are where the rubber meets the road. You are that person that can protect the community from somebody like this defendant. You are that person that can either let him walk out of this courtroom on probation with a piece of paper with conditions and promises that he won't resort to this kind of violence that you saw on that video, or you can ensure that the community is safe by putting him behind steel bars, concrete wall, and razor wire fence. I'm just asking, I'm not in the habit of begging, but on behalf of this community, I'm begging that you sentence this defendant to prison. The message that needs to be sent to this defendant and his circle of friends and anybody who would want to be like this defendant is that if you pick up a gun with the intent to commit violence, you're gonna pick up a 15, 20, 25-year prison sentence, Judge. And I'm just asking that you do this on behalf of people who live at the Pine Club Apartments, who just want to live in peace, people who want to go.
This is the thing where it's not like these stupid kids don't understand. I mean, it's like I can't. I mean, it's like you gotta think that these people are absolutely stone dead stupid, or they're just faking it. Because how could you think that? I mean, rob someone at gunpoint, and not get punished for it? Okay, it's the ego. It's the it's the no care. You don't care. You don't care what happens to you. So, I mean, like, I forgot what is this guy? Maybe I think was 17. Yeah, 25 years. 25 years max. You'll be 42. Like 27. Yeah, he'd be 42. I mean, it's a lot. He pretty much like almost almost half of his life already. But it's like these types of people. I don't know, right? I don't know the statistics. I don't know the studies on it, but do I believe that a lot of these people who have a criminal history get better? I don't know, because I've been hearing a lot of stories of so many repeat offenders doing a heinous crime. Like I just recently heard this story of a man who had like multiple felonies, and then he killed a woman. Right? Why was he out? Why was he let go so many times? Right? Why was the judge being lenient on him so many times? And then he made such a heinous act that you can't go back from. So I don't know.
Take a walk at Rogers Park and not be robbed, and somebody.
Pirates, what is up? What is up? Hey, my brother, how you doing tonight? I'm good. I'm good. I hope you're doing well. Just chilling, just watching some videos on live stream. Right? I'm just chilling, talking, having an opinion. Right? So nothing special. How you doing? I hope you're doing well.
It wants to stop at a Speedy Mart convenience store and pick up some snacks without becoming a victim of a robbery. That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. So, Mr. Fontenette, there was a time some years ago that there really wasn't even a question. State's attorneys were recommending youthful offenders, probation. Let's give everybody an opportunity. And things have just changed in such an incredibly dangerous way with young people doing what I just saw you do on that screen. I cannot imagine the fear that person had that was working in that store, that he now has just trying to go to work, make a living, and go home. And he has 3 people come in and not just grab a little quick something and run out, but terrorize him for quite some time, pulling him around, yanking him around, putting guns in his face, all three of you. I also, in addition to the PSI, get jail incident reports. And you apparently like to fight and jump people, which is what's been happening in the jail. So it makes it very difficult for me to go, oh, this is somebody that's going to get out and behave, who can follow the rules, because you can't even follow the rules in jail. And the pre-sentence report shows that you're a high risk level, which tells me that after they've looked at everything, that you don't have, unfortunately, a good likelihood of being successful if I were to put you on probation. And Mr. Coleman's right. We're tired of it. And there's got to be something done. So in cause number 25, DCCR 1759, I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty. And at this time, I'm going to find you guilty of aggravated robbery. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 25 years in the institutional division.
What am I watching? I'm watching this court case. This young man, like 17, getting sentenced because he was for armed robbery. I'm gonna be watching some of the other stuff too. Antics, what is up, my brother? What is up? Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Keisha raises the pookies. Yes, I agree. I agree. That's the mother. Mother calling the judge a bitch. The mother who raised this criminal, right? The Keisha, in a sense, that raised this criminal has the audacity to call someone else, right, a B. No accountability. Your son is a criminal. Your son is a dangerous criminal. Okay? Sounds like lucky he didn't kill someone. But how his path is going, he's close to it. And you have the audacity to, upward. No wonder your son turned out the way he is.
Come on, Mom. Here. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 25 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm handing you the trial court certification. This was not an agreement. You have some rights to appeal. I have also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. You can talk to Mr. Rojas about any questions you have about that. I am making an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon.
If the mother actually cared about her son, she should have put him in programs or whatever, so he wouldn't been led down this road. If she actually cared.
Mr. Fontenette, I understand that this is harsh, and I know you believe this is harsh, but I think this is necessary. I hope that you go and you make things right. You can get out of prison. You're still going to be young, and you can make your life better.
Well, I mean, if he served his full sentence, he'd be in his 40s. I mean, he's not old, but he ain't young, right? Particularly, you lost the years that you needed to establish a good life. But here's the thing: you wasted it anyway, right? 17, like, I don't know, you're 17. You wasted at least, I don't know, a couple years, right? A couple years already doing stupid shit. So you wasted it already. So I doubt this type of man, this type of boy would actually be productive anyway, even if you let him out. So, I don't know. I can understand reform is a good thing, but I don't know if we're. I would love it, right? Yeah, 25 years that ain't a little bit, right? That's not a little bit. I, I've said this before. I mean, I guess I've never said it, but I want to say this where I wish that we do have something to reform people, right? A proven method, right? A consistent, proven method to actually reform people. I really wish. I'm not here like, oh, I wish these people would all be in jail and stay there. No, I don't, right? For crimes like thievery and shit like this, that's not murder, right? That's not murder. That's not absolutely heinous and violent. Or this is kind of violent, but I do wish. Plus, like he's 17, right? It's young. I do wish that we do have a proven way to actually reform these people. But here's my thing. I think, personal opinion, what would have reformed these people would be a good father. Sadly, at 17, this man is this I guess boy ain't gonna listen to no man. So he's too far from actually obeying a father figure. Okay, so it's I don't know. It's getting out of their environment is key, right? I definitely agree, right? I definitely agree. Um, the mother, if she actually cared, right? If the mother actually cared, would have taken the children out of this environment, or if she actually cared, would have a good father figure support, that would actually be more beneficial. So yeah, uh, I feel bad for him, right? I definitely do. That man had that man probably has a pookie father, 100%, 100%. A pookie father, a neglect father, another street thug, another street, street as a father, right? And it's sad, right? Like I said, I would love it if we had a proven method to actually rehabilitate people. But sadly, we don't. That's not the reality. At least not in America. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in other countries, but in America, we don't. Okay. I I don't know. I mean, I do wonder how other countries do it. Right now, I could fringe guesses where their punishments are harsher. Right. It's like I heard. I don't know. It's like I've heard like actual death for I don't know some like for certain crimes, actual death for certain crimes or whippings and caning shit like that. So I don't know. I mean, shit, dude. I'm 19 right now, and I don't listen to my parents like ever. I really don't get along with them, especially my mom after the divorce. But I don't think I'm doomed. No, no. I think here's the thing where you know uh that's understandable, right? I mean, at your teens, you're very rebellious. I can understand that. Yes, I mean like, but um, to not getting along with your parents is one thing, but being delusional about life is another thing, right? If you don't get along with your parents, okay, but if you don't understand right and from wrong, you don't have moralities, you don't have a good head on your shoulders. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good thing, right? So I definitely I definitely hope people are more intelligent, right? Be sure with be around the right kind of crowds. Don't be friends with people like because again, I guarantee you, a boy like this, it's because of his friends, right? I mean, definitely because of who he is and his environment, shit, but definitely also because of his friends. Kids like this, they are worse when they're with friends because they will all try to be similar to each other or one up each other or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a good thing. So, all right. All right. I wanted to check this one out, right? I wanted to check this one out. There's actually a good Kendrick Lamar song about the topic called The Art of Peer Pressure. I highly recommend listening to it. I'll check it out, right? Is that his new album? I listened to his first album, right? So the guy's he's good, right? He's definitely a great artist. I'll check that out. Right. But yeah, this is a thing where I want better, right? I want better, particularly for the minority community. I really do. Um, I really do. And to be honest, I just think that going on the road that the minority community, the black community is going on, I don't think it's been helpful, right? I don't think it's been a good thing. Laughing Man, what is up, my brother? What is up? How you doing, my brother? How you doing? Hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone is doing well. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. All right, I want to check this out. This is an interesting one where it's black conservative women versus black liberal women. I think it might be interesting. Might be interesting.
Black people as a community need to walk away from the Democratic Party.
I agree. I agree. Black people as a community need to walk away from the Democratic Party. Black people as a community need to not be tied to any one party. I believe, here's my opinion. This is why I don't even believe that people should stick to the Republican Party, right? I believe that I don't believe nobody should stick to one party. Okay? Be with a party that will care for you, that will cater to you, that will focus on you, that will do things for your best interests. They have to gear their policies towards you, right? They need to gear their policies towards you. This is the problem that the black community is not understanding. Okay, the Democratic Party don't care. They don't do nothing for you, or they're not desiring your vote because they know they already got it. Right? They know they already have your vote. So the Democratic Party may say, "Oh, racist things, this, white supremacy, that, all that shit." That's good enough. That's good enough. You will vote Democrat. That's it. They don't need to cater policies towards you. They don't need to create laws for you. They don't need to do anything that's actually beneficial for you. They don't need to create grants particularly for you, right? They don't need to. They don't need to focus on bettering your community. They don't need to focus on problems that's actually going to be beneficial to you because they know they got you in their pocket. They know that you will vote Democrat no matter what. And the black community has proven it for decades. They have voted Democrat. Yet, what has changed for the black community? What has really changed for the black community? You know? Lizzie, what is up? What is up? You focus on racism to keep black people controlled. Yes. I focus on racism because it's my greatest strength. We are not the same. Dizzy, you are crazy. You are a natural born troll. I love it. I love you. I like Tom McDonald said that they only promise us free doom. That's interesting.
All right. So, like I said, I identify as liberal, not necessarily a Democrat. I personally believe that.
It's kind of weird, right? I mean, it could be true, right? You could be a liberal and not a Democrat because you probably don't even vote at all. But in that mindset, right, it's kind of counterproductive, okay? what changes are you actually making, right? If you don't even participate in, the voting process. Now, if you let me say this, in me particularly, I don't care about the changes, right? I'm not fighting for changes. I'm not demanding changes. So in my mind, if I don't vote, I don't care, right? Because Republican Party, Democratic Party, I don't think that their policies or their laws or their I don't know, propaganda is going to really help or really affect my life like that. Okay. So me personally, I'm not clamoring for changes or whatever. I'm not. So that's why I don't necessarily, me personally, that's why I don't necessarily call myself a Republican or any of that shit, because I just don't, I just don't view that as beneficial. But to be a liberal, right? To be a liberal, and if you don't vote for any particular side, it's kind of weird, because then what are you actually affecting? Because if you're a liberal, you're screaming for changes, right? Well, that's kind of, you're not voting Republican.
Both parties, they thrive by us like kind of puppeteering like back and forth division and kind of tearing people down. And it's more of like the people in.
I agree. My thing is, this has always been my viewpoint, right? I believe both sides are evil. Just gotta pick the lesser of two evils, right? Both Democrats or Republican, both sides aren't great. Just pick the lesser of two evils. So I definitely agree, Laughing Man.
Power don't want us to listen to each other. So that goes for Republicans and Democrats. So I think that both parties need to listen to their people more. So I do think that instead of having a hive mind and saying like, kind of like being in these like, it almost kind of feels like the Bloods and the Crips. Like it's very intense, right? Like instead of that, I think that we should vote issue by issue, and like maybe that doesn't mean that we're in the Democratic Party. Maybe that means that we form an independent party. Maybe it's, I just don't think that any person should say, I'm part of this.
You know what I think is the worst part? I mean, like, you think I might not be critical of America, but I am. Doesn't mean that I don't love America. I love America, but you can still be critical of it. One thing I'm critical of is that there's never been a viable, third party, right? There's always been independence, right? There's always been independence, but it's sad to see that no independent has ever been all that popular. And this is the thing where I honestly believe why in the beginning, right? Why in the beginning I was a Democrat. Because, Bernie Sanders, because the Democrat side constantly talk about take money out of politics. And I love that. We should, right? You shouldn't be having millions upon millions upon millions of dollars backing you, right? You shouldn't, in my opinion. And that's probably why the independents always lose, because they don't have the money to, help them succeed. And I think that's a detriment for America, because always picking a Democrat or Republican, they're too restricted, right? These two parties are too restricted. That's why I always consider myself center, because if you're center, you're more fluid with the idea. Who's Ross? Oh yeah, he was. He was pretty popular. I mean, I remember him. Was he? What was he? What was he? He wasn't part of either party? That was interesting. Oh, his party is the Reform Party of the United States of America. That's interesting. Oh yeah, okay. Ain't that interesting? I forgot about him. Yeah, I did remember. I remember him campaigning. but we don't have enough of that, right? We don't have enough independents trying to raise up. I definitely remember him.
This gang or this gang or this club or this club. Like, I think we should use our critical thinking skills to choose which party or to.
Oh, Antic, I agree. I would definitely agree that you are quite learned. I personally, I believe my chat is amazingly intelligent. That's why I love you guys challenging me on my views, right? I love it when you guys challenge me on my views, because question me, challenge me, because I think having opinions is great to be challenged, you know? So, yeah.
Vote on which candidate is going to best advocate for our people.
I mean, I just think it like fundamentally destroys the concept of politics if any political party is entitled to a group of people's votes. The point is that the candidates have to earn what it is that our vote from us, and I don't think that anyone, any political party should expect any group of people to always vote for them. And I mean, if we look, Black people still have a lot of issues in this country, and we've been voting Democrat faithfully. So I don't really see, you know, like what's the point of that party loyalty. But I also just think that there's an issue with the two-party system altogether, and everyone would benefit from not having so much.
That's correct. That's awesome. You wanted to be a history teacher. That's really cool. That is really cool.
Party loyalty, and us fundamentally not having a two-party.
To be honest, I wanted to be a teacher until I learned one, that's the pay sucks, and the bureaucracy, right? When I learned about the bureaucracy of, you know, of being a teacher and stuff like that, I was like, no, I'm good.
Party system anymore across the board.
I think for me, the reason I would love to see the Black community remove itself from the Democrat Party is because I personally, I really think that the Democrat Party intentionally harms the Black community. I really feel like a lot of the policies that they've put in play have down the line been a negative overall for the Black community than a positive. And I actually do think that if you look at Black history, we align more with conservative values overall. The Black church especially aligns with conservative values. So I do think, like, I hear what you're saying that, you know, we shouldn't be loyal to any party, but I think if most Black people were to look at each party ideologically, they would skew more conservative.
But you're talking about the Black church, which is not Black people.
No.
So
I'm talking about the Black community, and I'm just specifying that the Black church is part of a more conservative group within the Black community, but I do think that Black people in general have more conservative values.
But it goes back to that point of we're fundamentally, once again, getting rid of the point of politics.
Let me say this, right? I think the Black people in general used to. I think Black people in general used to have more conservative views. I think they don't anymore. Sadly, after Jim Crow, they stopped, right? Sadly, when the Black community became more matriarchal, they stopped, right? Sadly, when baby mama culture, yes, but the Black church is liberal. Exactly. Okay. It's not the Black church. She's probably talking about, you know, yeah, before 1950 Black church. Yeah. But no, not today. It's skewed liberal. It's skewed for women. It's skewed towards women. So again, the problem is the matriarchalness of the Black community. Women are leading the Black community to ruins. So yes, if you want to look at the past, yes, the Black community was a lot more conservative. They were, I think they were just as conservative as white people. The problem is they diverted, right? They diverted, you know, single mother households, you know, women leadership, women in control, women raising the next generation. Yeah. Pastors gearing towards that kind of community, right? Pastors you gotta think, right? These are pastors now having to gear towards a community that's predominantly women, right? Women are leading these families because fathers are out of the household, right? There's no father there. So these women with children are going to the churches. What do you think pastors are going to say? You know, men is the head of the household. Really? What man? They don't have a man there, right? What do you guys like? You say like, oh, conservative values, tradition, like, you know, provider, you know, be it, you know, submissive and shit like that. No, they're not going to scream that shit. It's not a part of the black community anymore.
Which is no one should be entitled. So even if you're thinking that black people generally align more with conservatives, that's still saying that conservatives then, it should just that the loyalty to one party should shift to conservatives, which I don't think there should be an entitlement at all.
And I think we need to remember why so many people, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. And so the reason why my family never votes Republican is they remember why the map flipped, right? The map flipped because they didn't want, they're like, oh my gosh, they're gonna give rights to black people. And so then all
But
of
that was
those.
the Democrat Party.
I know,
That was
right?
the Democrat Party.
Like if you think about, like I went to the University of Alabama.
Me too, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, right? But they weren't letting black people the then like
The Southern Democrats.
The Southern
Yeah, they were.
Democrats
It's the
at the
Southern
time,
Democrats, which are now Republican
who are
Party.
now Republicans. They were not letting, like they supported letting African Americans, black people, go into the University of Alabama, right? So my grandma remembers when all of that was happening. My dad went to the University of Alabama right afterwards, and he said that he felt like a germ. He feels all of that racism.
I felt like it there then.
Yeah, and so that's why so many people, like black people, don't, especially in the South, don't vote Republican, even though my family, like even I probably am more moderate, but at the end of the day, my family, they're conservative. I'm Catholic, right? Like, but focusing on the social justice issue, like that's the reason why when I hold my nose and I vote for like the party that I vote for, because at the end of the day, when I look at the policies and I think of like who's taking care of people, who's taking care of like queer people, black people, like the poor, like really mostly the poor, like especially as a Christian.
But not to cut you off, sorry, but that's a problem for me because black and poor is not synonymous.
I'm not
right?
saying that.
Black and
I'm
queer
saying
is not
that
synonymous.
I said the people who need help, right? And I'm not saying, I'm saying personally the reason why I vote Democrat is because I focus on the teachings of Jesus, and I was raised by a
What I don't know. Maybe I will admit stupidity on this, right? What are Democrats' policies that have helped the queer community and the poor community? What policies? I mean, like I said, I'm part of fringe idiocy. I wish this is the thing. I wish they would say, right? Like I was just like the Democratic Party focus. Okay, tell me what. What did they do? I personally don't know, and I would love to be educated, right? I would love to be educated. This is a problem with like maybe when I talk with Alan or Zyrax, right? They don't bother to actually educate, right? They assume that, you know what, you're not going to change your mind, so don't bother. That's foolishness, right? If I have a certain opinion, I will give you examples, right? I will give you examples of my opinion. Why do I have the opinion I have? These are the examples of why. You say that the Democratic Party is a party for, you know, women, for queers, for the poor, but are they? Right? I mean, like some of the you know, have the highest you know, homeless population, like California. It's a Democratic led country, Democratic led state. Have their policies for the poor actually helped? I mean, I don't. It doesn't seem like it. And for queers, like what? I mean, like the only thing is like they. I mean, like did they pass? Were they the ones? Which part? Which
my mother who has been Catholic her whole life and my grandmother who's been Catholic their whole life. And the reason why we're Catholic is because nuns from the North came to the South and made a mission school because they weren't educating black children, right? They made a hospital. Like my mom would have been born who knows where, but it was for like by the goodness of God, because of the passionate of the Catholic faith that there was a hospital for them to go to. And all of that wouldn't be possible if, or kind of going back, the reason why our family, like there's a lot of racial trauma that is associated with the Republican Party because the Southern Democrats that are now all Republicans like they saw them
can we
switch.
put a pin in that? I first of all, I want to say I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. Nobody owns our vote. That's very slave-like mentality to think that we have to, we must vote a certain way because we are a certain kind of people. I think it's fascinating that you say that the Southern Democrats are all Republican, because most of the Southern Democrats, all of them who voted against the Civil Rights Act, how many of them actually flipped to Democrat? We referenced Strom Thurmond. We can go back to history, but talking
Joe Biden.
I mean, there's a good amount of them that
right,
switched.
but like over time, not many of them died Democrats, right? So
Just look at the map, you know.
Can I also ask specifically just a question for you as a Catholic girl to Catholic? I think we're the only Catholics here. What for you, what has the Democrat Party, especially now today, where they stand with abortion for any reason through all 9 months, abortion on demand for any reason, and the Democrat Party is just notorious for giving Black people false promises. Well, if you vote for us, we're going to give you this, and we're not seeing it. I think that the Black community we're not only divided between colors, like people that are different colors of us, but we're also divided between each other, right? I, as a Black conservative, somebody who puts themselves out there online, I receive way more racism from fellow Black women and men than I do from white people. And it's always, oh, well, it's the white people who are messing everything up for us. They're the ones that are the racists. But as soon as I come along and I'm just a little bit different than I guess your average Black woman, because they put us in a box, like we all don't like that. We all agree that that's not okay. They see me and they're like, well, she's Uncle Tom and she doesn't belong in our group, and we don't. Yeah, exactly. And so with that, what has the Democrat Party today truly done for you? I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to step on the question, but I would ask the same question of the Republican Party. Yeah. Like to me, in this climate now,
they push the strength of family. This is a thing where they push the strength of family. They they desire you to get off of financial aid, or they get you from desiring to suckle the teat of the government. They push you for stop, wanting to be financially dependent on the government. They want less government control, right? Less taxes. I mean, yeah, it helps the rich. Okay, great, but it will help you not being taxed. Not being. This is a thing where, to be honest, like it's a lot of the values as well. Pick yourself up the bootstraps. Be better. Focus on being better.
Now that we're a full year in, I don't understand how you can stand behind that man under any circumstances.
I think it's important that we don't focus on one person, and I think
don't focus on the president.
No, of the United States of America.
That's not what
we're talking about the party as a whole right now.
If you are Black and queer, you're also part of the Black community, and if you're mistreating someone in the queer community that is also Black, then they have to, like, the Democratic Party takes more care of queer people than the Republican Party.
But for Black people, what has the Democrat Party done?
They gave us our first
people?
Black president.
Correct.
Mixed president.
No,
What do you mean mixed? So she's not Black?
I'm just.
What do you mean?
Being
what are you talking about?
true. So the Democrat Party.
True.
So because Obama decided to run, and he actually was way different type of Democrat, I would say, than what we have today.
Well, I would say that the Conservative Party is rooted in more like morality, goodness for Black people. It tells you to work hard. It tells you that you're not a victim. It tells you that you can do things.
That, right? It's the
rather
mindset.
than telling you that you're a perpetual victim and that you need some system to control your life and to make a difference in your life. And it's just not true. If you just look at the Black community, the Democratic Party has ruined the Black community. It has literally neutralized the Black community to the point where your vote is not even going to matter as much because of all the mass migration that these illegal immigrants that benefit off of things that should be going to the Black community. They should be helping actual Americans rather than helping people that are not citizens of this country, people who broke the law to come into this country, and you guys support it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm also kind of taking a backseat, I guess, in this part, just because I fundamentally just don't like the two-party system, and it developed at a time when Black people were like a labor force as slaves. So I just don't think that's something that evolved then can at all be.
We can bring it
useful.
back to the question of.
Well, no, I'll get to your point, but I don't think that this can be like fundamentally useful because we're talking about something that's evil. So I just don't I don't know. We're like fighting to make
something that's evil. Yo, Laughing Man, thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. It's like something that's evil. It's like, seriously, something that's evil has gotten you to the place that you're now where you can vocal your disdain or criticism of said government. This is the problem I have with liberals and Democratic Party. Okay? You don't understand evil. You don't. You don't truly understand evil. You really don't. I'm pretty sure that people who suffered under, the mustache man, right? The painter, would understand evil more, right? I'm pretty sure people who, I don't know, suffered under, like, currently in Cuba would disagree with you. People who have suffered in Venezuela would definitely disagree with you, right? I think they would definitely disagree with you on what's actually evil.
a broken system work for us. And
Which is a fair point.
But this is
But
where
yeah,
we're
go,
at.
go,
So
go.
we kind of have to work with what we
we
have
do have to work
right
with
now.
what we have. Intention and results both need to be taken into consideration. And I think that one thing I felt from the other side is that there is a bit of not wanting to think about intention as much. And I do think that intention is where policy is going to come out of. So I do think it's important that we have that, like, an emphasis on that conversation, which is what makes your side not make as much sense to me, because the intentions don't feel pure. So if that's...
How's the intention here on the left with Democrats? How? Right? How? I have literal videos, right? Literal videos of, honestly, the left have no problems calling black men the N-word, right? If they're against them, right, doing ice work or what shit like that, they would have no problem calling black men the N-word, right? Being racist towards black people. They have no problem with that if you're not on their side. They have no problem with being violent towards women if you're not on their side. So what's the good intention? Oh, you follow our side, then it's good. What? So you're not for you if women are against you, you're not for women. If minorities are against you, you're not for minorities. Makes sense.
We can, yeah, okay, whatever. We can talk about the specifics of policies and how that's planned out, but what's going to be coming down the line if the intentions are not in a good place?
How do you know that the Democrats have good intention and they're not just trying to win your
I don't
vote?
think anybody has a good intention.
So I'm an
That's
independent
me.
conservative. We do exist. I don't think of conservatism as a party. Conservatism is a set of values that influence your decisions moving forward. I voted for Democrats. I voted for Republicans. I don't have a specific side. And some people here may know that I do not have a problem calling out either on any ill intentions or ill results that happen as a result of what may have been good intentions. What I see consistently happen on the Democratic side is things are proposed with good intentions or what may be perceived to be good intentions. But what actually results in the long run from those decisions, i.e. welfare, supplemental programs, things like that, is that it ends up negatively impacting the Black community in a very significant way. And so the level of dependency that comes from these programs, and then it ends up influencing your vote.
What are you
now,
measuring that on? I'm sorry, I just want to know, when you say dependency, what are you measuring that on, and how do you
the
know?
amount that, so would you say that what you get your food from and what helps you support your family would influence your vote? Would you not vote for the people that give you those things?
Yeah, the people
Yes.
people are going to vote for their personal interests.
So if,
And I wouldn't see that as being the Republican Party.
So what I'm saying is that I'm not either side. So when it comes to the Democrat Party, what I see is that those things are what are used when it comes to how they want to gain your vote and your influence. Instead of paying attention to everything that goes on outside of it, they know that if they advertise toward those things, they can pander to your weaknesses in life.
So offering a
You
form
think
of
they're
help.
bribing us? So I don't.
I don't consider a form of help to be a bribe. I think that creating a system that revolves around your reliance and your dependence and doesn't give you an avenue out of it is a form of keeping you imprisoned to a system that makes it so that your vote is always guaranteed.
The people that need those government systems to feed themselves and their children, what are they supposed to do?
So I don't have a problem with government systems existing. I do think that they're
Not have the children. Work. Be reliant on yourself. Establish better routines. Establish a better life. Then maybe have kids. Right? I mean, like, let's be honest. A system where, you know, if you don't have a man in the house, you'll get money for every child you have. Would you not think that, you know what? How about I don't need that man, and I'm going to have multiple children, and still not have a man in the household? Ain't that something? Ain't that, you know, I kind of want to take advantage of the system. Now I'm stuck to the system, right? Now I'm tied to the system because it's incentivized me to be a part of the system, that I can't escape, because you know what? Now I'm relying on it, right? Because you know what? I now that I have children, I can barely afford them, but the government is helping me, right? The government is helping me. So you know what? Great.
There needs to be an audit of those systems in order to filter out fraud. And I also do think that we need to make it so it is an avenue toward working.
I feel safe around the police.
I kind of feel like that went nowhere. Why don't we have? I really felt like that went nowhere. Didn't really give good examples, or because I would ask them, give me some examples of what policies you're talking about. I mean, educate me. What policies you're talking about? Like, what policies you're talking about that has helped the queer community or the homeless? I really don't know. I mean, like, besides, I guess the marriage rights, but it's like, is that really? I mean, I don't know. I guess, but okay, great. What now? What? And like I said, I think the welfare system has been a detriment to the Black community because they are tied to it. They are, it seems like the community as a whole is forever linked to the welfare system. Okay. Even though I think predominantly white people are more on it because they're more population, but the small amount of Black people and the small amount of Black population, they are extremely tied to it.
Yeah, so I'm a journalist. I go out all the time on the streets of New York, DC. I've been here in California many times to film, and consistently, the police do not help me when I am being attacked, when people come up to me and start shoving me, pushing me. Just on September 1st, there was a Labor Day anti-Trump march event, and I had my mic stolen from me and my hands very aggressively and really hurt. They were grabbed by this young man, and it caused my mic to fly out of my hand, and I lost my mic, and I also ended up with a big scratch. The cop saw everything. He saw what the guy did, and the mic went rolling somewhere, and the cop looked at me and said, well, there's nothing that I can do. And I'm like, but you just saw this happen to me. And I don't think that there is an overall issue where like the police focus on one race more than another for racial reasons or racist reasons. I think there are just good cops and there are bad cops, but overall my experience with cops have not been super positive. I mean, when I've been pulled over a couple times for a taillight out or I was going too fast, I did what he said. I pulled out my license and everything was fine. It wasn't like, he held a gun to me just because I'm Black. But overall, I've had very negative experiences with the police. So that's why I put down.
Interestingly, in regards to your specific experiences, what I think is happening is that the police have been so vilified by the left, telling people that the police are violent, are aggressive, that they now don't even feel comfortable interjecting in many things. Like, it's actually safer for them to keep a distance than do their job. Because if they come in and they get involved in what's going on, and now you've got 8 million people with cameras saying, they clip that one 10-second clip where the police shoved someone off of you and threw them to the ground. Now the police are brutal. Now we've got, George Floyd type protests happening. And I feel like what's happening to you or what happened to you in those instances, it's like it is an actual result of us screaming for 3 years, defund the police, we hate the police are horrible. Even back, with like, F the police. Like, we've been anti-police for so long in this country. Yeah, like, we've now made them the enemy and they don't feel as, comfortable
So
in their job.
Can I ask, where do you feel, where does that fundamentally come from? Yeah. The F the police comes from what experience?
So I think one common misconception amongst people that look at the conservatives is they think that we just think racism doesn't exist and it doesn't happen. That's not true. Of course, terrible things have happened and we've needed to respond appropriately to those things. And there is a rational fear that there's generational trauma that exists. I'm not discounting that. But I do think that there is as we go on with the police, I think what we've done as a collective is make it so we think all police are one way. When we look at things statistically, Black people are not getting gunned down by the police on every corner. That's just not what's really happening. And when so much of our focus is on the amount of white cops that are killing Black people, and it's not focused on the amount of Black people that are killing Black people, that's an issue to me.
So what do y'all think of police gangs?
Police gangs?
Yeah, like there's gangs within the police. What do you think of those?
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Like, inside the police, they have their own gangs where they do things that are outside of the law.
Right.
Yeah. We totally condemn
There's
that.
good and bad in everything.
Yeah, I'm more so curious about the over-police.
Do you have an example of that? I'm not saying that that's right or wrong or, true or false, but do you have an example of it? It's like, sometimes people just say like, okay, what do you think of this? Okay, that sounds bad. Is there an example? It's like, if you heard it, right? If you've heard it, there's got to be an example, right? There's got to be. It's like, so if there's an example and no one legally condemns it, that's a problem. But what is the example?
In Black neighborhoods, like how do you conceptualize that?
Well, when they over-police?
Why? So
Because
I honestly,
they
when we look
commit
at the
those
numbers and
crimes.
the amount of crime that does happen in Black.
Who is they?
Black
People in the Black
people
communities.
commit most of the crimes you're talking about nationally?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or
On a
they just
on
get
a per-
framed for them.
on a
Very
per-
a chicken or the egg type of thing.
Very
All right.
much
So
yeah.
So can you repeat your question? I got lost in it. I apologize.
Yeah, just what I'm wondering is you're saying like, okay, you made your point. How do you understand then over-policing in Black neighborhoods? Because
So
Black
how do you
people
define over-policing?
having a large police presence. Well, yeah, I didn't really have an answer because I've spent no time with the police. I've never really had an interaction with them because of the fact that I grew up in places where the police were not.
So what makes you think that there's over-policing?
Because of what I've learned.
So I've worked at the university.
Guess what you learn? Social media, right? I'm not saying that, most people don't, but it's like you learn it from your media. This is a thing where you would think, I'm not saying that, there's not bad cops and good cops. Of course there is. But you would think that if there's over policing, there's a huge amount of crime. It doesn't make sense that in a city where there's zero crime, there's 100 cops. Right? It doesn't really make sense. You're just paying people to stand around. But it does make sense where there's a crime rate of, 100 crimes and there's 100 police. That makes sense.
University of Alabama as a community director working with the police, and that's why I said green, because I've worked very closely with them. The systems in place where like the white spaces are taught or teach students, like the white students, how to not get caught doing bad things. So the things that are happening in Black communities in those neighborhoods are happening in upper echelons too. They're just not getting caught because they're not.
The police
being
are not there. That's why I
over-policed.
brought up my experience was like the police. There is a large.
What? What are you talking about? So you're telling people, you're saying that you work with cops that are telling white people how to not get caught? What the hell are you talking about?
Police presence in predominantly Black areas.
So are the
So how do
police-
you understand? Why are they there?
I would say that If you look at the amount of crime that Black people are
Why didn't they question that? This is stupid as shit. Why do you not question? Are you saying that what police officers or your I don't know, your work is telling white people how to commit crime and get away with it?
in this country. Like if you go into the Black neighborhood, you are getting fed through bulletproof glass. So it shows you that there's a problem within the neighborhood because the people that are serving you are scared of you. The people that live within the neighborhood are scared of you. And to deny that is actually happening and that would require more of a police presence is just a disservice to the Black community. Now, I do think that there are good cops and there are bad cops. I'm not here to say like all cops are bad, all cops are good and everything is perfect, but I do think that like specifically Black men, they don't have conflict resolution skills. They don't know how to deal with conflict when it comes to the police. A lot of the things you see online is like you could have just complied and you would have never went to jail. None of this would have happened.
Can I offer just a different perspective? Because let's entertain that maybe, yes, I'm just entertaining that there's more crime that happens in Black communities. Instead of over-policing, do you not think that there would be more of a benefit to offer programs for rehabilitation and offer growth for those communities?
But why should police offer that?
Please, let me finish my sentence. Instead of just over-policing, which is going to create more fear and more of the narrative that you all are talking about, which how the police are viewed. And that's what defund the police is actually about. It's about taking money away from over-policing and being able to offer programs for the community to grow in a positive way.
All right, so the comply argument. I have a major problem with that argument. Because I would love for you to ask Tamir Rice's mother if he had complied, if he would be alive. The 12-year-old that was gunned down after playing on a playground for 2 seconds. So there are far too many. I mean, I think that we.
That's the thing where, okay, great. Okay, let's. They said that there's bad cops and good cops. Okay. They also say that you mean that it's like you want to include a situation that honestly, and again, I'm not saying that I even know that situation that well. I mean, I heard the name, I know, glanced through the situation, but it's like you want to use that as an example to comply. It's like honestly, I think it's disingenuous because they don't discount that there are crooked cops, there are terrible cops. Of course there is, right? Of course, but to think that if you don't comply to good cops, that's why, right? Because of bad cops, it's kind of ridiculous.
We have gotten to the point where these names have become a hashtag and we don't understand.
And yet, okay, so the names that, and I've had plenty of people coming up to me like saying that, they're going to like, school events, football games, all this stuff, and there's shootings. You don't care about that. You're not talking about that, right? So it's like, oh, so are the death of kids important to you or they're not important to you? Or only the death of kids are important when it's by a white person or by a cop. That's the only time it's important to you?
Like, okay, so if it was just, if it happens to not happen very often, to say that child's life wasn't worth at least a deep dive into this conversation is infuriating to me. To say that it's just, he was a 12-year-old. So I absolutely, now raising a 14-year-old child who is on the spectrum in my predominantly white beach community, and we can't walk the boardwalk without being suspected for something. I absolutely do not. This is my experience. Why is because we're dipped in chocolate.
To go back to the original prompt of do we feel safe around the police? I feel 100% fine around the police because I don't commit crimes, right? And that's just, the reality is I am not going to lump myself in with a community that feels that they need to fear the police. I actually know many police officers. I've dated police officers. There are police officers in my church. Their children are friends with my child. They are people.
Just like you, just like me, they are people. And you spoke to the police gangs, but I would ask you about the fraternities, right? We can't say that all fraternities in colleges are terrible because some fraternity boys commit horrible crimes and rapes and things of that nature. We have to accept that there are individuals
Organized crime
that do
and
the wrong
hazing
thing.
is different.
Well, there's organized crime in the Black community. There's way more organized crime within the Black community than there is within the police department.
That's not true at all. You
That's
need to
absolutely
read,
true.
honey.
So reparations are just and necessary.
Why did you cut that? I don't believe. Why do you cut certain things? It seems like the editing is weird. Is it because you don't want them to be arguing with each other? I mean, like, isn't that the point? It's literally versus each other.
Sorry.
Okay, good.
That conversation literally didn't seem like it got solved.
Just and necessary. Okay, I actually am glad you repeated that because I thought you said they were just unnecessary.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, like I said, that I believe that people who weren't slaves shouldn't get reparations from people who were never slave owners. And it's just like, how would that even work? And then what about the Black people that own slaves? Like, it's just so much to go into it. Instead of looking for a handout, which is what typically liberals and Democrats do, why don't we just work hard in the country that is one of the greatest countries in the world and people come here to die? Why don't we just work our butts off to have more?
So, reparations is not, we're not talking about just Black folks, because Japanese receive reparations.
Same generation that got inflicted by the internment camps got that reparation. The same generation, the exact same people that were in the internment camps got those reparations. The same people. It's not the next generation. It's not the couple generations afterwards. No. So they're not paying Japanese people for the atrocities that happened to people of yesteryears.
After World War II. So there are times where reparations are just. It just seems that in our country, when it applies to Black folks, we're the only ones that aren't going to get it. That's historically the case.
I think
no one argue that. It's like absolutely stupid. It's not because of Black people don't deserve it. No, it's because you weren't, it didn't happen to you, right? It's like, seriously, where's the intelligence level of these people?
I think that's an interesting thing to point out, that historically people have gotten reparations. Slavery was messy, and as was mentioned, there were white slave owners. There were Black people who owned slaves as well. There were white indentured servants from Ireland and Italy. There were people who came to this country as free Blacks from the very beginning. How would you do it? And this is a direct question that I would love for one of you to answer. How would we repair through reparations in a way that is fair and just?
And if I can just add, and also, what do you do with biracial people? With people of lineage of both sides? Okay.
First and foremost, we're not getting anything. I just want to make sure that we're clear. We're not.
But that's probably true.
For example, for my parents who grew up in the South in Jim Crow, I feel like reparations for that generation is something that is very trackable and very doable because they were redlined, they were kept from owning homes, they were kept from being able to build generational wealth. And I think that is a good starting point for people 75 and older that are in the Black community.
This is a thing where just owning a home is not the end all to be all to create generational wealth. Okay. A lot of these people don't even save money. Okay. A lot of these people, to be honest, they're not wise with their money. Now, I'm not saying that, definitely during Jim Crow, it was bad, right? But it's like, I'm more saying that there could have been things that would be helpful and beneficial. Okay. There's ways to do it besides, owning a home to pass down. And plus it's like, I don't know about our parents, but I'm pretty sure there were still Black people that own homes during those times.
You could easily give them what they were kept from back in the 50s and the 60s before the civil rights happened. So that's what my solution would be. Trying to track it back to slavery, yes, it should have happened because slave owners did get reparations, but the black community that were enslaved did not. So if we're going to look at some way to try to give repair, I think starting with the people that suffered through the Jim Crow would probably be the best and most easiest and just way to do that.
Can I just say, I think that's fair.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So one thing.
I mean, it did say black people did own homes during the 1940s.
That I thought was interesting that you said was the idea of generational wealth. With such a small percentage of the white population having owned slaves, I think one false idea is that it was all the white people that were enslaving all of the black people, but really only, I mean, honestly, it's
it
less.
definitely wasn't, but they still benefited from it.
Why are you fighting
that's the
so
thing.
hard for a world where we don't try to right these wrongs at all? I'm so confused. Even you mentioning like, okay, well, we had.
I'd love to finish. So when it comes to the idea of this long strand of generational wealth that was left to white people, it's just logically false. There's plenty of white people that are not descendants of.
Statistically, there are more poor white people than there are poor black people, right? Statistically, right? There are more poor white people than there are poor black people. So to say that white people have benefited from slavery, even if they weren't slave owners, it's statistically wrong, right? Statistically wrong. When there are more poor white people than there are poor black people, how is there the benefit? I can't wait for Alan to show up and lecture DA about black people. AJ, what is up, my brother? What is up? No, Alan doesn't usually come during these days. So what's up, my brother?
Slave owners. So if we are doing reparations for slaves, you mentioned the Japanese, you might mention the Holocaust and people that have gotten reparations in the past. One stark difference between us getting reparations now and those reparations are those were reparations that were given directly to the people.
Finally, yeah.
That got wronged and is going directly toward their generations after. I really want to ask how you think it would work out genealogically, how we would trace down who is a descendant of slaves, and also how it would work as far as payment. Because blacks have been paying taxes all of this time, would it essentially be blacks paying themselves back?
Well, it's
and
what
then
I said
also,
with Jim Crow. That's the only.
That's probably what I would do, to be honest.
I also want to ask as well, how exactly, and I'll be honest.
But here's the thing where you have to think, okay? History-wise, black people have, towards their community, right? They have received billions, okay? Let's say I was debating with Zyrex. Even if other Americans received it, so what? You received it too. Just because other Americans received it, you said that's not for, why? Why? So you think that if no one but black people received it, so that's reparations? I think that's idiotic. Before integration, blacks were fastest. Yes, before integration, blacks were the fastest growing economic group in the U.S. The welfare state destroyed it. I agree. Before the end of before Jim Crow, right? Before the end of Jim Crow, right? Before the Civil Rights Act, black people were actually, yes, the fastest growing economic. They had the highest marriage rates out of all groups, right? Black people had the highest marriage rates out of all groups. So seems like during their worst times, they were doing their best. So why is it now during their best time, they're doing their worst?
How exactly you see all black people getting a $50,000 check after we determine who gets it, right? After we hire on we're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar operation when we're talking about reparations and how this would end up truly being executed, not in a utopian idea of all black people get this money. But then you also have to think about what reparations are. Reparations, by definition, do not need to be money. Reparations can also be education,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
a multitude of
exactly.
things.
That
And
would
I
be
think,
beautiful.
I think what's important is that when it comes down to it with reparations, we are giving 50,000. However much money you think
So much victimhood in this video. I agree.
reparations should be to people that just by fact are not educated on financial independence.
So give the education.
Okay, education is perfectly fine with me, but I think when we have to figure out if you want education to be a precursor to finances, we'd have to invest very dramatically.
I think the Jim Crow idea is perfect because, like, my husband and I, both of our grandfathers were in Korea, and when they came back from Korea, they had very starkly different experiences. One was able to get a job, one wasn't, right? One had GI benefits, one didn't. And
Is it a black man and
oh
a
yeah,
white?
my husband is white. So, and at the end of the day, like, I think it's important to recognize that there's some generational wealth that could have been built that wasn't built. And think about the mental, like, toll of coming back from war and then going from one war to another, like Birmingham, Alabama, coming from Korea, and like, imagine what life was like and you couldn't get a job because of, like, no GI benefits were given. Like, yes, legally, maybe they should have, but also Jim Crow was the law of the land back then. So how in the world are we supposed to not, like, and I think that what you said is beautiful about using education, right? Because my family personally, like, education was like our way out. Like, that's why that, like, and I think a lot of black families, they, that's why we hold on to education so well. But then kind of going back to, like, right now, the Department of Education is getting dismantled.
So basically, this is how I would do reparations. I think that a way not to burden taxpayers would be to sort of do it like how Native Americans get free college, which is they have to submit their own lineage. You have to trace your own lineage yourself, submit it, and then I think there's a certain period, I don't know the amount of
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
years that we should not pay taxes, just straight up. We have contributed so much to this country, or at least our ancestors did. We should get that leg up. I went to the University of Alabama. I'm from Atlanta. I've seen so many white people benefit directly from slavery to this day. Like, my best friend in college, her family lived on a plantation that was handed down to her from her family that was made off the back of black people. And it's the biggest residence in Alabama. That is insane. That is sick. We deserve for our ancestors to be treated with the respect to just, like, be paid for their labor. That's it.
If I can just interject really quickly, because I actually did hold my hand up. Yes, I think that
you're pro.
reparations should be given. There's two reasons I believe that. One, it was promised, right?
Yes.
Flat out, it was promised. Go ahead and do it. Two, I know that it would be the biggest bump to the United States economy that we've ever seen because black people do not know how to manage their money. And that is
But
a fact.
Americans
so
don't
hold
either.
on,
Yeah,
hold on. I'll
yeah.
finish. I'll finish what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm not just saying, look, we're a bunch of black women, so when I say black people, I'm worried about black people. I don't care what other Americans are doing. I'm talking about black people in the space that's about black people right now. Black people do not know how to manage our money. That's just a fact overall. It's an unfortunate fact. If you want to see the sales for Nike explode, you want to see the sales for, luxury cars explode, give people a bunch of money. It'll be like the Chappelle skit where the black people got it. It's a fact. But what I want to make clear, or the way I think of it, is that if you're talking about programs and opportunities, we already have free colleges. Just because it's not specifically for black people doesn't mean it's not available to the black community. We already have public housing. We already have SNAP. We already have
That's why I said
people getting
taxes.
free, we already have people getting free health care if you make low enough that you need it. My family is from South Carolina. My dad's family, my same situation as yours, but we own our home. It's a compound. It's not as big as Alabama, but it's really nice. 3 houses. My grandfather built it by hand. There is a space in people's minds right now that says, I'm a victim and I need help. There's some people that literally just believe I need help and therefore I must wait for the help to show up. And then there's other people that say, I need my life to be better, and they go out and get it and make it happen for themselves. And I think that when we keep begging for reparations, instead of just saying, like you said, it's never gonna happen, it's never gonna happen, so move on. There's every other opportunity in front of you. There's every avenue to better yourself and make a better way for your family down the line. Focus on that instead of begging the government to do something that they clearly don't want to do.
It's a moral issue at this point. It's not even like begging the government. It's just like reminding, dude, you owe us.
Black on black crime.
I'm just like, I'm one of the things like, I've said this before, I don't discredit the past. Of course, it's ugly. The past is very ugly. What I discredit is that it's that mentality that, you know what, you're old, right? I get it. It's, not a good thing, not a great thing. But if you think you're owed it, I don't know. I think it's going to be forever, like, forever, you won't better yourself to just achieve it, in my opinion, right? I guess it's just the mindset where you're putting yourself down, right? You're not picking yourself up and just, making the opportunities yourself.
Crime is as a result of underinvestment and over-policing.
Yes and no.
When we're talking about violent crime, this is largely done by men. And so I have a hard time blaming under-policing and under-investment on what I fundamentally believe is a patriarchy issue, is a male violence issue. Across the board, across races, across everything, men commit violent crimes, and they commit them to each other a lot of the time as well. So I can't agree with that. It's just
No, that is false, right? That is false. Majority of crime is committed by men. It's not the same thing as majority of men commit crimes.
just these problems, because white on white crime exists and whatever all these other crimes exist. I don't think it's fair to hone in on this. I think that this exists so we can say that black people are more aggressive. That's why there's this conversation. But it's a male issue. It's a male violence issue. It's a patriarchy issue. So, and I think that that's not what to blame.
I also think and I would love to know if you guys agree or disagree on this, but it's also a proximity issue, right? Like you said, white on white crime is a thing. We don't talk about that. You most likely will end up, unfortunately, involving yourself in crime with the people that you're around naturally. And black communities were historically, you have to look at the history of it, they're pushed into those areas because of what? I'm actually asking because of what?
Redlining?
Right. So, all of that. So when you're around those people all the time, that's who is going to you're going to end up committing crimes against those people. It's the same with white people. So I guess my question is, do you think that if those black people were able to leave and kind of gentrify in a different way other communities, would they still be committing the same amount of crimes that you view that they're committing?
What you're suggesting is that the black community is inherently violent. And
I'm not suggesting that. No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting that.
Let me finish my actual thought.
Okay.
The black community, when it's all together, is just going to inherently be violent, and the only way to remove the violence is to let us spread and intermix with other people. That's what I'm hearing from that
That's
statement.
not what I'm saying. I understand that's what you're hearing.
You see what I'm saying?
I do, but that's not what I'm saying.
Because what you're implying is that when black people are gathered together, because of the proximity to other black people, we commit crimes.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What I would ask,
I feel like
what
you
I would
understand
ask
what I'm
is,
saying.
why are we committing crimes?
That's because this is a thing where, yes, it is proximity crime, right? I get it. But this is the thing, you don't have to commit it. Yes, if you are with the people around you, you will usually commit crime with people around you. Why are you committing said crime? You could use the same example of Asian people who live with Asian people. Yes, they commit crime against other Asian people. But then what's the demographic of crime? What's the rate? Why is the rate lower, right, in the Asian community than it is in the black community? Why is it, let's say, I haven't looked it up, but probably, why is it lower in the white community when they live with other white people too? It's not saying that the white people don't commit crime against other white people. Yes, they do. It's proximity, of course, but it's the rate. So again, if you're saying that, okay, yes, black people live with other black people, that's why there's a high amount of crime. No, black people live with other black people, that's why it's a proximity crime. If there's a crime that's committed, it's against black on black. Yes, I agree. But why is this such a high volume, right? Why is this such a high amount? They commit disproportionate amount.
Everybody commits crimes. That's the point that I'm saying. I'm saying everybody commits crimes, and who you're in proximity with is who you will end up committing the crimes against.
It's not about who you commit a crime against. It's about amount. It's why the rate. That is what the point is. Okay, it is the rate of the crime. It's the amount of crimes.
I think from the science background of like generational trauma and like thinking about how men are not taught, going back to what you're saying, men are not taught how to regulate their emotions. And think about all the
Men
anger
are
and
able to be violent, which is a very different thing. Men don't have to regulate their emotions. Men can be.
I'm just
Men's
speaking
violence is
from
always
my
protected.
experiences, like in the mental health field of.
First of all, who's teaching said men? Right? Women.
If we're not allowed to, well, anger is a secondary emotion. Underneath it is embarrassment, hurt, pain, like all of these vulnerable emotions, and men in our society are not taught how to process that. And if you take in generational trauma, all the trauma that Black men have had to go through chattel slavery, and like I said, my grandfather came back from war and he didn't get GI benefits and he has to support his family. Like, what do? It turns to anger. And the reason why there could be, and if you, again, kind of redlining, squishing all of these people and over-policing.
This is a thing where it's kind of the ridiculousness of redlining, saying ridiculous of redlining, because you look at the rates of other communities, Hispanic communities, Asian communities, right? They are put together as well. They're actually put together within the same community. So really, it's like you can. It's like I don't discard that, redlining where they put people in but they put poor white people also in their own community, right? To be honest, it's not necessarily, I mean, of course it's part of race, but it's not necessarily race. It's more economics. All poor people are together. All middle class, all, rich, shit like that. They're not intermingling because of race necessarily. I'm not saying that that's guaranteed, but they're not intermingling more because of status, right? Of class. You're poor. Why would I intermingle with you?
It's just, we're creating this self-fulfilling prophecy where no matter what, like there's going to be more violence in these areas because there's no, like, again, kind of going back to, we need the mental health programs, we need education programs to help uplift people so that energy can go into art, it can go into school, it can go into all of these productive places so that.
Exactly, right? I mean, like, immigrants don't commit this level of crimes, and they're squished together.
We and again, like if we like spread people out, you get exposed to different ways to. Because I will say that if you are not taught how to do things and you are kind of stuck in this learned helplessness of, which I don't know if anyone will take that the wrong way, but it's just a term of like you feel like there's no, like, kind of like we feel like with the two-party system of like, if you say like there's no way that I'm going to get out of this, that is a mental health issue of saying like, hey, there's another way to express anger, there's another way to process this other than picking up a gun and shooting at each other.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of sounds like you're giving these people who commit crimes an excuse for because whatever trauma that they've been through.
No,
I can say
that's
I'm
not
someone
what's
who's
saying
going
anyway.
through grief and trauma right now. My mom suddenly died 3 weeks ago, and I every single day, thank you, I go through every stage of grief multiple times a day. It is the most I can't cuss on here, but you know what I'm trying to say. And I still have to continue on going through my life. Our bills need to be paid. Me and my husband, I have to be there for him. I have to go through life. I don't get to just go commit crime because I've been through trauma.
Do you have the support in place? Like, what does your support look like?
I have my husband, and we can discuss that. But even if I didn't, that's still not an excuse to go and commit crime to harm people, and it's not.
Remember that blacks didn't have crime until after civil rights movement. Black communities were peaceful. They are rewriting history to make it like blacks were always this way. I think I agree. And this is the problem. You gotta look at the change perspective. The black community became matriarchal. They became matriarchal. The men were pushed out of the family. Women were raising the men. What type of men you think women are raising? Now you're raising highly violent men, right?
Option if you have no idea what
I don't. This is why the problem is they should have talked about, okay, you talk about these men being violent. Guess who raised them? Single mothers. Single mothers raised these men. Single mothers couldn't properly teach these men. Single mothers. Black single mothers. So again, it leads because the black community after Jim Crow has drastically became a matriarchal system. Before Jim Crow, they were a patriarchal, right, family. They were a patriarchal community, right? Men were leaders of their community. Men were leaders of the household. Now it is women. Women are the leaders. She said patriarchy. I'll say feminism, right? I'll say feminism is the poison of the black community. Feminism has poisoned black women, right? And in turn has kicked out the men, right? Kicked out the fathers, kicked out the husbands of the families, and then, raise the next generation of terrible men.
Like, I will say, just from working with people and knowing, like, if you add in the mental health aspect of, like, we have echelon of needs. At the bottom is need for safety. What you guys are talking about is all the way up here. You can look it up, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's self-actualization of, like, knowing what to do. That's all the way up here. We're talking about feeding yourself and all that kind of stuff. That's
so why
down
do they
here,
go
so.
from I have no idea what to do to I'm going to go murder someone, or I'm going to go steal someone, or I'm going to go steal a car?
So I think when you bring up generational trauma,
She cuts out everything when it gets too heated.
I think, people can experience trauma on a number of levels. I think it's an insult to the intellectual intelligence, the emotional intelligence of the black community to say that you are going through X, Y, Z, so that must be the reason that you're killing people or robbing people, or and that's fair, but I think the black community is smart enough to know what is right and what is wrong, and that killing people is not the answer. I don't think that murder is necessarily a result of only generational. I think fatherlessness is a big part of the generational trauma that exists in the black
Who do we
community.
blame for that?
And Obama
For
spoke about that
fatherlessness?
as well. I know
Welfare?
you guys mentioned
No,
Obama.
I think we blame men who have kids and then abandon them.
Oh, well,
I think that's who we
I
blame.
love that.
I think that's who we blame. I think that's who we blame, which is why it's really
But
important.
can I say something super fast? I want to point out that black women were incentivized by the welfare state, by LBJ, to kick black men out of their home so that they could get more assistance. So we have a track record benefiting from the government by not having a black man in the house.
And first of all, abandoning them? Who picked these men? They weren't married to these men, and you can see the divorce rate, right? You could see by divorces where women are the ones who predominantly file for divorce, even in the black community. So there's more studies and proofs that no, one, if you're kicking out these men, why weren't you married to these men to begin with? And if you were married to these men, it shows you clearly that, honestly, it's not like men are leaving. No, it's women kicking out these men.
You can have more money if you are a single parent home. What did people do? They said leave so that the government can be my father. So that is why we are in that situation, because we have a culture issue.
I think it goes further back.
It probably does go further back, but I think that is a pin that we can put in history where we.
It doesn't. This is the problem, right? I'm sorry. These women are. The liberal women are saying it. Hopefully they will say it, right? I mean, sometimes they say it later on. But like I said, during Jim Crow and before Jim Crow, during Jim Crow, they were the highest married, they had the highest marriage rates out of all communities. They were growing exponentially economically. And now they're at the bottom of both of those.
We were incentivized for not having a father at home, and now it became black culture to not have a father at home. And we went from 85% two-parent households to about 25% two-parent households, and that is a huge reason. And one of the things that I keep hearing, can I just finish one thing, that I keep hearing from a particular side is that we have to blame external forces and look for external help for the problems in our community, because we cannot focus on changing our culture from the inside. And if we keep waiting for somebody else, daddy government, mental health programs, another program, another government grant, then we are never going to fix our internal culture around violence, around fatherlessness, around all of the things that have become common in the black community that we need to change from the inside. We need to clean our own house.
I just have a quick question, specifically just honing in on the animosity. I don't want to say animosity, I shouldn't say that, but just you speaking about mental health programs. Why can that not be viewed as a compassionate on-ramp for people, rather than looking at it as a victimhood or trying to find somebody to help you?
I'm not against mental health programs. I think that a mental health program would only be valuable if mothers and fathers encourage their children to attend a mental health program. But it has become, first of all, taboo. So if we look at the culture of the black community today and we said, bam, you have a mental health facility smack in the middle of the project, smack in the middle of where we were redlined and we've been wronged, who would go?
Yeah. If we put that mental health institution in the middle of a predominantly black neighborhood, what do you need? You need the transportation to get your kids there. You need the time off work to go there. You need to have the mental space to be able to commit whatever it is they're teaching you. These are all things that you fundamentally need to feel like the things that I need to feel secure, my access to housing, to food, to healthcare, all of that needs to be satisfied.
Why does it need to? Why does it need to when if you care to, this is the thing where you only, this is the problem. It's the victimhood mentality, right? It's the, it's the daddy, it's the daddy government mentality, right? Gimme, gimme, gimme. It's like, why don't you make it? If you need mental health, go for it.
And so I think that that's my main issue, I guess, when we're talking about like mental health support, is that we're trying to give people something they're going to need for the top of that hierarchy, and we're not addressing the bottom of it.
We need all of it.
Yeah,
How do we address both?
Okay, so I think what everybody is missing here is obviously she brought up the fatherlessness, and it's a big problem within Black women, the culture that Black women believe in, and this is why they're 5 times more likely to raise criminals, to raise people who commit crimes. They kill the most of the Black community via abortion. And if you think about
it's Black women's fault?
Absolutely. Black women have to be held accountable too, whether you know that or not. If you think about the music that they listen to, if you think about the music that they allow.
The same music.
Our music has always been a direct mirror into what our culture is. So when it comes down to it as a culture, I think one problem that we have is we do look to the party system, which is why I'm an independent. We look to the party system for who's going to help us, who's going to save us, and it always ends up going back to culture. All of our issues end up going back to culture because at the end of the day, we can say we need this and we want this, but we as a collective need to make a conscious choice to do things differently. The reality is, you go to...
This is the thing where I don't understand how they don't learn from the Asian community. I guess it's like controversial, but they don't learn from the Asian community. The Asian community is actually doing better than the white community. Right? There are stats, there are studies that are showing that the Asian community are actually doing better than the white community. And I don't understand why the example is there, and they just don't bother. Bother. Yeah. Based on aggregated data, the Asian community in the U.S. often outpaces the white community in metrics like median household income, educational attainment, and wealth. So, maybe learn a few things. Maybe learn to say that stop being dependent on the government. Asian communities 100% not dependent on the government. Well, maybe not 100%, right? But I mean, they're definitely not dependent on the government. They may use the government, of course, but they're not dependent on the government. They're not shackled to the government. The Asian community is a community, right? It's a community. Definitely there's, respect for elders. There are men head of the households. There are both men and women working to better the household, right? Women being still, men trying their best to provide, right? And women also working, but also taking care of kids, also taking care of the family. So there's a lot of things, but and helping out each other, right? Helping out each other as a community. So I don't know. I think that us as minorities should be learning from each other. So I don't know. But I think that's it for this one. I think I looked at it enough. I don't know. Some things they could have said a bit better, but whatever. Let's do... Let's do some TikTok videos. I thought this was might be interesting, so let's check this one out.
It's a community in Nigeria that's having a great festival right now. And it's a video going viral online of a girl literally getting sexually assaulted by like multiple men during this festival in Nigeria. It's a community somewhere. The leader of this community, I believe the president of this community, said that he was not aware of it. There's a video somewhere online of him literally like crucifying his workers because comes to find out, I believe his workers knew about it. And they're saying like the elders of the community, who are basically the ones in charge underneath the president, I believe he's a president or the chief or like a king or something. Other than that, they were the ones who approved it. Justice was served in that matter. They did get arrested. But it's just such a crazy thing. Like, here's the thing, and it's not even only Nigeria. It's literally West Africa. Like, West Africa has this huge sexual assault problem. And I feel like at this point, as like a first gen Liberian, first gen Africans, or Africans who are just in America right now making a certain type of money, especially as women, I feel like we need to come together and kind of like invest in like a self like a self-defense class for these women. These women need to learn how to defend themselves because they're living in a society where justice really don't be getting served like that. Like, although the elders got arrested.
Defend themselves. It's like, what do you think women are going to be? Become Rambo? What do you think women are going to be? It's like, it's honestly kind of ridiculous. What do you think women are going to do? Like, fight off a group of men? Fight, like, what do you think women, it's a she's out of her own mouth. She's saying it's a festival, right? It's a group of men. What are women going to do? Go John Wick on them? That's not happening. Movie shit is not going to happen in real life. She's not going to go, Atomic Blonde on them. No, women aren't going to do that. And this is also out of her mouth, right? It shows you that this is the thing where we always constantly think that, it's white supremacy, it's white man this, it's colonial that. No, right? It's not. Right? It's not. Every culture has their problems. But if you don't try to solve them yourselves, you're going to have to continuously find these problems.
Like, who's to say the men who actually did the sexual assault are going to get arrested? Like, hopefully they do, because they got like their videos online and stuff. But you can't depend on the third world country to actually have the resources to be able to really track everybody down or to even defend these women. And at the end of the day, West African countries, the women in these West African countries have been doing protests and talking about sexual assault for years, and I feel like it's getting to a point where justice is not being served, and now they're having fucking festivals, and something needs to be done. Like, something actually needs to be done because it's not stopping. And I feel like now, like, the women of these countries need to take matters into their hand. And I feel like as us people over here who can help, I feel like we all need to come together, like start a GoFundMe or whatever the case may be, and like open up like a self-defense class.
This is my thing where a lot of women don't realize what actually helps you is men, right? Even though, a lot of times men are the problem, right? But it's not all men. So it's like, this is the thing where for women to be able to get their rights they got, they needed to, get men to change their minds, get men to join their side. This is the thing where, honestly, for something like as heinous as this is, you need men to join your side. Because in all honesty, a group of women are not going to beat up a group of men. That's ridiculous. I don't even think that even if women outnumber men, I don't know. 10-5. I mean, double men. It's still doubtful, right? In a terrible situation, I doubt men will just give up to a group of women. I mean,
Or something. Like, these bitches need to learn how to fucking slice a nigga throat with a machete. Real shit. That's what they dealing with. I'm sorry, if justice ain't gonna be served, justice ain't gonna be served if I kill your ass because you want to attack me. Dead ass.
Again, she said a festival. She's not just saying what person is like one-on-one. I mean, is it a festival or is it like just like, I don't know, random stuff?
Dead ass. We'll pay the fee for the bitch to get out because that's all you need to do in Africa. Motherfuckers don't stay in jail. Shit. Dead ass. Look, like, I'm so fucking serious right now. It's a community.
Yeah, I just this is a thing where women honestly can't, they won't be able to fix anything. Women have a this is the problem where they don't understand the force doctrine. They can't force men to stop anything. So what women can do is get men to be on their side to have said men do the force. So this is terrible, right? This is Absolutely disgusting. So I don't know. I hope that changes or something. But yeah, that's absolutely terrible.
Why are black men the only race of men that I see that can pretty much go to prison, go to jail, not have their shit together and expect for their women to hold it down, to stay down, or whatever the case may be? Like with Jaden and Blueface. He's actually upset that he went to jail or prison and he expected for her, Jaden, to hold it down. What does that even mean? Like, where are they getting this from? Who is teaching these men that your woman, your significant other, whoever you're dealing with, is supposed to just put up with all of this crap and in the name of staying down? It doesn't make any sense. And most of the time, these same men will not do the same thing for you. They're not being taught that they need to keep their family together and that they need to marry these women and stay with them through thick and thin. They're being taught the more women that you have, the better. Why aren't they being taught that they need to stay with the mother of their children through thick and thin, just like they expect for women to stay with them through thick and thin? It doesn't make any sense. Why are black men?
I see no ring on her finger. She pretty much answered her own question. You. Women like you. Women like you are teaching exactly that. Where's that ring on your finger? So this is a problem where women don't realize their children learn from examples. Your example. I've said this before. Women don't realize that if you are a single mother, you are literally creating the next generation of single mothers, the next generation of baby fathers. Because of you. You are literally giving your child the blueprint. You are literally the role model your child looks up to. It is because of you. Okay? You thought this man, right? This man that you're supposedly complaining about, just like these other women. You desire this, like even her example, Blueface, right? I don't know the woman she's talking about, but Blueface, yeah, the guy's a degenerate, low, like F tier rapper. But any woman that thought this man was a quality man to get with him, right, and get with him, I cannot be surprised that she would get the outcome she gets, right? Like, he expects her to hold her down. You thought he was good enough before, right? You thought he was good enough before. You think that is the difference because he's been in prison or whatever? You thought he was good. You thought he was worth before. It's not like he's worse. No, he was exactly that. He was exactly what you got with. A lot of these women, exactly that. If your man went to jail, you knew what you got. He was that type of man before he went to jail. He had a criminal mindset. He was a degenerate mindset. He was a terrible man to begin with. You still got with him. You still gave him a child. So, no duh. If he thought you were stupid enough to get with him before, he think you're stupid enough to still stick with him. So, why would he not think that, oh, what? She should hold me down. She wasn't that smart to begin with. Now she's suddenly smarter after she has my kid? That don't make sense. So, you are the ones who teach these boys, teach these men what to think. You were the one. You gave them the example. You gave them the blueprint. It is on you. So it's just ridiculous. This is the problem I see, right? It's the mindset that these people perpetuate. Women are the problem. You are the matriarch. This is the society you chose. Here's a problem, most likely, right? No ring on the finger. Most likely a single mother household. No man is guiding this house. No man is the head of this house. You are the head of this house. You are the one who's teaching the next generation. You are the ones who are teaching the boys, teaching the girls. It is on you. And then you think that, oh, what about these men? Well, you chose these men. You chose these degenerates, these lowlife, these irresponsible men to procreate with. This is the thing. No one forces you to get with said men. And to say that all men are like that? No, that's wrong. Plenty of men are not like that. Plenty of men don't have a criminal mindset. Plenty of men are work hard. Plenty of men are morally sound. You just didn't get one of these men. You just weren't attracted to these men. It's on you. It's on you who you choose. When we pass the day of, fathers choosing your husband, choosing your man, now you have 100% accountability for your own actions.
A man accused of randomly shooting a pregnant woman inside her car has been found not guilty by reason of insanity. That shooting happened in the Belltown neighborhood in 2023. 34-year-old Ina Kwan and her unborn daughter were both killed. Her husband was seriously injured. Cordell Goospy was charged with first-degree murder. By presenting a not guilty by reason of insanity defense, Goospy agrees that he committed the crimes but had a mental disease at the time, per Washington state law.
Defense first obtained their own expert report, and their expert found the defendant was insane at the time of this crime. The state then obtained our own expert, who also evaluated the defendant, and they came to that same conclusion that he was insane at the time of the crime.
Goospy will now go to a state psychiatric hospital where he could spend the rest of his life. A man accused of...
I mean, whatever. He would have either, it sounds like, spend his life in prison or spend his life in a, mental institution. Whatever. It's shit like this is disgusting. It really is. I mean, I don't know. I'm more critical. If you're mentally insane or whatever, well then why are we letting you walk this earth? Why still be a burden on the taxpayers? Let's delete you. It's like, this is my thing where, what's the point of you living? It's not like you're adding to society. No, you will be a drain on society. So to be honest, I don't know. I don't really, I'm not too inclined to say like, okay, let's just continue to put you on taxpayers' money. No, I'm like, let's just end it, because to be honest, what's the point of having you around? So I'm definitely if you are proven 100% guilty for your crime, particularly of murder and heinous crimes, well, it's an eye for an eye. Eye for an eye. You should be deleted. So I mean, that's just my extreme views. But I mean, like, I don't know. I think these people who has the tendency. I'm pretty sure this guy has a rap sheet. So
yeah, you got one of those. Okay, you are Raymond Johnson, correct? Yes, sir. All right. As you probably know, this isn't good. Yes. All right, you're charged with evading arrest or detention with a motor vehicle. And when the police have a siren and they have the lights, what are you supposed to do? Stop as soon as possible. Yeah. And that carries with it up to 10 years in prison, if it were only that. So you've got this 2019 forgery conviction out of the court next door. After that was final, you picked up in this court unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon in 23. And also, two unlawful possessions of firearms by a felon in 23. But the point of it all is, if you're found guilty of this, you're looking at 25 minimum to life in prison. Do you understand? You're what they call habitual felon, which is what you don't ever want to be. Yes, sir. But it's choices that we all make. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Langston Adams is here.
I think I'm smiling too.
Attorney, very good man, fine person. I've known him a long time. We both come from Port Arthur. Yes. He can help guide you through this, but you've got to do your part of following the law for a change. I mean, you've been messing up now since 2019, and it's been consistent. What do you want to do today?
Judge, I was going to take it from the initial docket and actually through the announcement docket.
Oh, okay. You know, you're not even if you went to trial, you're not eligible for probation. You know, you weren't eligible for probation after the first felony conviction, which was three convictions ago. So you put yourself in a box. You don't have a lot of options here.
You remember last time I seen you, Judge, I caught the gun charge, and I talked about my now.
See, you caught the gun charge. You speak just like the street folks. You were indicted for a gun charge.
Indicted with the
Yes,
gun
sir.
charge, yes, sir. I explained the reason for me having the gun at the time. I don't know if you remember or not.
But I'm not the grand jury. The grand jury indicts.
Yes, sir.
What they hear, the evidence that's presented to them from the DA's office, they pretty much make good choices. And that's why you need your lawyer to help you. Because, like I say, this is a minimum of 25 years in prison. And you don't want that.
I mean, I've been selling I've been having my own business since 2021. And
nonetheless, you could lose all of that.
Me being the color that I am in the city that I stay in, it's kind of, you know, it's hard to live out here trying to do positive, and have your own business and run it, and have to look over your shoulder at times. So I had to protect myself, you know.
Well,
and don't blame it.
Don't blame it on how God created you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I mean, in this area, the people who run things don't tolerate unfairness.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've just got to fall. This doesn't show anything about race. This shows about bad choices.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Don't talk to them about it.
So it's like you blame. I mean, like, what does that mean? Are you in a community all white people? So you're scared, or are you in, like, community of all black people and you're scared? What is that? I mean, I don't quite get it, right? Because he brought his color skin, so it sounds like he's scared because he runs a business, and because of the color of his skin, he's around all white people or something. That's why he has to protect himself. What? That's ridiculous.
You did the James Byrd trials. That's me. I prosecuted the two who were executed. Don't talk to me about race. We don't put up with people being treated unfairly. Yes. That's not tolerated in this area.
Living in your city, just, you know, how it gets out to the county.
CG, thank you for joining the club.
Well, it's just the race. It's just the city, period. How the people kind of live in.
Well, you have a right to pursue your dream as long as you do it within the law. Yes. And anybody gets in the way of that, that's improper, and we got rules of dealing with that.
Yes.
But everybody gets a chance to try to reach their dream. That's a problem. He's going to put it on the announcement docket. But once again, a minimum is 25 years in prison if you go to trial on that. A minimum. Well, you got to work with him and figure this out.
It doesn't sound like it, but it's just a thing where I don't know. I kind of find it. This is a thing where, you know, for whatever reason, he says he has to protect himself because the city he lives in. I kind of. I don't know if that's true. Why not hire guards? Why not? I don't know. I just feel like this is a thing where there's always other ways to go about things. Okay, you having a gun when you shouldn't have a gun because you are a convicted felon should not be the way. Like, breaking the law shouldn't be the way to do it. Now, why not call police to, if you fear for your life or whatever, call police. I don't know. I just think that sometimes it just doesn't make sense to do certain things your own way, because here's the thing. It's leading you towards this. Your way, honestly, isn't the right way because you are failing at it. It's leading you to the court. How about do things a different way? here's my thing. Just I feel like why don't you just hire someone who can? I mean, like there's probably like lower tier guards, right? I mean, like you aren't able to have a gun. Well, hire someone that can have a gun. It's like you're owning a business, right? Well, chalk it up to expenses, right? I think you could add that to your taxes, right? Get a tax write off, for having. Did you get that? Hiring a security guard is generally a fully deductible, ordinary, and necessary business expense, allowing you to write off costs for contract labor and third-party security. I mean, you could write it off, right? So there's ways to go about it. It's just like how are you a business owner, and honestly, pretty stupid. So I don't know. I just think that this is the problem where some people want to do things the criminal way, right? Instead of the legal, proper, smarter way. I don't know. But what do you think? All right, guys. All right. That is it. That is it for today. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for checking out. It is what it is. I mean, sometimes stream will pop in, sometimes streams are not popping. That's the way it is. But hopefully, thank you for staying. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for checking out the stream. You guys are amazing. I love you guys. Please check out my other videos. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. Comment on them. That would be helpful if you want. If you like the videos. But yeah, I love you guys.